Hello and welcome to Sweet Spot DFS. This is a review of the RSM Classic where Tyler Duncan is your winner. He beat Webb Simpson in a playoff. That last round on Sunday, pretty windy, tough conditions. I had some really good lineups going into it. Was pretty high on the leaderboard on a few of the contests with missed cuts involved. But then a couple of my lesser owned players just didn't play well enough for me to win a lot of money, but I tripled my investment, which was awesome, and it was mostly due to a contest I entered during the weekend. So I just used my same process that I usually do during the weekday or for the preview, enter that into the weekend, and basically obviously what it does is it gets rid of half the field. So then I get to choose, with a narrow pool already, the one like the last year ones, last year twos, that kind of thing to then put into my weekend lineup. And so far I'm 2 for 2 in the put $2 in, win $20 that contest. And so that essentially tripled my investment because I put $10 in, including those $2, and it turned out pretty well. So let's go ahead and get into the spreadsheet. Of course, I always start out with the recent form. So I've populated the results. I put in the optimal lineup, which golfers those are. I put in the $1 GPP. I did not calculate the... Bear with me. I'm going to do this while on camera. Not a big deal. It isn't difficult. And sometimes, for you guys, if you want to learn some spreadsheeting skills, you certainly can. I'm just clicking control while I left click. That way it gives me numbers here. So first I'll just go ahead and copy that, put that down, make it a money symbol, and take away the decimal points. And there you have it. So we'll go over here and look at the optimal lineup. So obviously you guys probably saw all the points that I have here. Those are the individual points for those players. But here we go with the optimal lineup, which I also didn't do. My apologies. I was kind of hurrying and trying to get this done. So you guys can't see it, but down here in the bottom right is a sum function that most Excel spreadsheets have, if you didn't know that. So 689 points. Oh, no. 698 points. That is what the optimal lineup was. All right, now we can fully do this because I did put the GPP down. So it actually by 100 points. The $1 winning GPP had 589 points. The optimal lineup had 698. So over 100. Yeah, dyslexia. There you go. So 110 points difference. 109 points difference. The guy did not have the winner. However, you didn't need the winner because Webb Simpson put up the same amount of points as Tyler Duncan. And the winning lineup had Webb Simpson, Sebastian Munoz, Vaughn Taylor, Brian Stewart, Cameron Tringali, who was 20th, and Rory Sabatini, who was 53rd. Sabatini put up 65.5 points. Like, there was tremendous. The guy could have easily switched that to somebody else for Sabatini's price and would have got many more points. But anyways, the optimal lineup was Tyler Duncan, who won, Webb Simpson, who tied and got second, Sebastian Munoz, Brennan Todd, who has been on a hot streak. He was leading this tournament for a while. It could have been his third tournament in a row winning. So that's interesting to see. I don't think we're ever going to really see it from someone like a Brennan Todd. I'm not saying Brennan Todd isn't talented, but someone of his caliber, we're not going to see three wins in a row. So to me, it's a little bit of a, what do you call it? What are those things? Outlier. It's an outlier. To go along with those four golfers, Henrik Norlander, who I remember playing a lot of him like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I think he was a Web.com, which is now the Korn Ferry Tour player. And he was streaky. He was really good and also really bad as well. And K.H. Lee was the sixth person to round out that optimal lineup. I played a bunch of KH Lee, although his... See, now, we go through this, right? We go through this whole process. Look at the recent form average. Do you guys remember what I brought up during the previous years? You kind of want that rainbow color recent form. I know that's difficult for a lot of people to understand, or a lot of people to even register as a correct method of analysis, but essentially you could come in here with any recent form. And when we get to the DK page, I'll point out KH Lee because he had a good percentage of finding top 10 in Bermuda, I think. We'll see. This is just off memory. So that's why I played a lot of them. I think a lot of these players I did talk about. I liked Scotty Scheffler. I did play some Sebastian Munoz. I don't know exactly how much. I played a lot of these guys. I don't know if I played any Tyler Duncan. In fact, what I can do... Let's go to my lineup construction page. Take a look. We can zoom in a little bit. Because I don't remember. I basically just put the graphics together and hopped on as quick as possible. Because I wanted to make this as fast as possible. But this isn't really happening now, is it? Okay. Oh yeah, we hit a lot of this information. Doesn't matter how much lead did I have. AH. 7.5%, so 3 lineups, not a lot. And then I wanted to see if I had Duncan at all. 0%. Yep, I didn't play any Duncan. Could have pivoted from Luke Donald to Tyler Duncan. That's one of those pivot things that you can think about. And same with Jason Duffner, could easily pivot it. Who else did I want to look at? I think it was just those guys. Show I played some KH Lee. So KH Lee was in one of my big lineups. I shouldn't say big lineups, but more expensive lineups. And felt really comfortable with that. Although that was completely random, still felt pretty comfortable. All right, so we don't need to really look at that. I just wanted to show you because that's where I keep my ownership percentages of the lineups that I played, just so you guys can see it. I don't think there's really anything to talk about. Optimal lineup was 47,600. And the $1 GPP winning lineup was 49,400. This is actually the second week in a row the winner of the $1 GPP did not have the actual winner of the tournament. So the fields aren't very large, but I'd also say the talent isn't very good when it comes to picking these lineups. Which, yes, I did not win, so include me in the talentless DFS players for golf. All right, so into the DK page. I took the liberty of highlighting some guys that played together just so I can get to them faster. So Tyler Duncan played with Will Gordon. Of course, we wouldn't have... I didn't know who Will Gordon was. And Will Gordon did finish in the top 10. I don't have his, how many points he scored. But I think it would have been a good play, especially when you wanted to play at least 2 1s this week. And obviously, the optimal lineup does not even have a 1 in it. I mean, Scotty Scheffler's there. You could substitute Scheffler for Todd and lose out on 2 points and just be like, okay, there's 1 last year 1. But I mean, obviously, we see DJ Trahan and Alex Noren there as 1s. Will Gordon is a 1. So technically, these guys, there were 4 golfers that finished inside the top 10 and at least 1 who finished inside the top 5. So that's going to continue to further progress that bucket, that range. The 4s get a couple more players in it, so this could switch to a 3 next year. And Simpson, who was a 3, might switch to a 4 since we don't see many 3s here. Again, you wanted 2 2s, or no, you wanted 1 2, 1 last year 2, and KH Lee was one of them that I played. Oh, Munoz. That's who I wanted to see if I played any Munoz. I know I did. I just don't remember how many times. Well, I guess 3, since the count was 5. And 2 of them are right there. Okay. So, I mean, again, played them in enough lineups. I only played 40 lineups, so 3 was pretty decent. And a lot of that is just because they were 2s. And I mean, I did star him. I starred Scheffler. I didn't star the rest of the guys. But anyways, going back to the tee times pairing. So Tyler Duncan and Will Gordon. And then you had Brendan Todd, who was, hot fire with Keith Mitchell. Keith Mitchell was a 2, so I mean that would have worked out if you would have went with that whole thought process that I typically go with. And then we have Scotty Scheffler was paired up with Denny McCarthy, and I did talk up Denny McCarthy in the preview video based off of this, them being paired together. I mean, that's a pretty good amount of golfers that had the same tee time or who play in the same group on Thursday, Friday that were together. Or I should say, in the top of the leaderboard. We can go ahead and hide this information because we don't need to see it. We can go to the course history. Look at that. Pretty awful. Not very good. Recent form, we already looked at that. I guess I should go all the way down to here. So let's go ahead and hide this information because we also did talk about last week. I mean, you can see by the numbers, the bucket score numbers, and correlate that with what you saw on the spreadsheet. And then we get into Bermuda here, which kind of surprising. Obviously, Webb Simpson, the best in Bermuda overall, top 10 percentage. Sebastian Munoz has had a really good showing, really good number. Tyler Duncan, 9% in the top 10. So this doesn't include this week. Obviously, these numbers are going to go up for these guys in the top 10. But this doesn't include, his 9% don't include. I do look at golfers, any golfer that has over 6%. I think I used to say 7 in the past, but it's kind of transitioned down a little lower. So now I'd say 6. I like those golfers just for a shot in the dark. So Tyler Duncan, 9%, top 10 percentage, pretty good. Brendan Todd, I mean, again, he's been lighting it up. So you could go with the hot recent form to go a lot, to combine a little bit with his top 10 Bermuda percentage. Scotty Scheffler, the dark red here indicates not a lot of events for Bermuda. Obviously, you can see he's been in 6 events, and I guarantee you, like 2 of them have been this year. New golfers on, right here. New golfers who haven't really played a lot of grass surfaces. I'm guessing a lot of these guys are collegiate athletes that have played all over the place, but usually in the southern states where you're going to find different grasses, and I can't remember when they play. I don't know if it's in the winter or spring. I can't remember, but either way, if they're overseeded grasses, you're not gonna really play too much on Bermuda grass. Either way, 6 events on the PGA Tour, obviously different conditions. Not enough for me to gauge if one is good or not. Obviously, a 22 mark for top or 2020 Bermuda stats. Decent. That could just be one tournament. I don't have the events for 2020, but either way. Henrik Norlander, again, I told you I used to play him like 4 or 5 years ago. 19 events for Bermuda. Nothing the greatest, but 5.26%. And then we get to KH Lee, which like I told you, I was going to talk about. So not very good 2020 Bermuda, but he also had been struggling this whole year. He may have gotten something, fixed, but he has a 20% mark to make the top 10. So that was a big indicator for me that, hey, it's okay to take a shot on this guy. That, and paired with him being a 2-2 last year, 2 last week, 2, that was fantastic. And then we go with Denny McCarthy, great Bermuda stats as well. Alex Noren, I did play some Alex Noren. I don't know exactly how much, but seeing that 15% Bermuda, I know he usually plays at the Honda Classic, which is a Bermuda track. So I'm guessing he's really comfortable on that grass. I know he's a European golfer from Sweden, so I don't know what grass they have there. I imagine it's a tougher grass. I don't think it's Bermuda because it's not warm. Actually, I'm pretty certain it's not Bermuda, but it could be like a similar grass, just in a cold temperature. So if it's a bunching grass like Bermuda is, then actually, yeah, I think it's a bunch. The roots are just they're entangled. So maybe there's like a CPAS palum correlation. Could be. I'm not positive. Yeah. So the rest of the top 10, obviously nothing too special. I will go ahead and hide this information and go ahead and talk about the swing stats, as I like to call them. I don't see anything here that is popping out like, hey, this was an indicator. I didn't include driving accuracy, which Should have, but I forgot to. Yeah, I really don't see any correlation. Maybe approach. But again, I have this color coded. So if you see light green, that means they're a top 20 in the field. Yellow means they're 20 to 40 in the field. Orange is 40 to 60. Light red is 60 to 80 in the field. And then anything dark red is 80 and above. As you can tell, we don't have a lot of top 20s here. We actually have a lot of bottom of the field. You know, a lot of these negative stat lines. But of course, those aren't the only stats. We can go ahead and look at the rest of the stats over here on the right. Can you see? Yeah, you can see everything. Even okay, birdie or better looks like that was kind of a pretty decent corollary stat. I like to also combine it with the birdies. So obviously Simpson hasn't played much this year. 22 birdies, not a lot, but his birdie or better percentage pretty high. I guarantee you it's just going to keep climbing. Scotty Scheffler, like just looking at that probably was a good indicator. This I didn't really like. I mean, having a high number of attempts and being, you know, between 60 and 80 or 40 and 60, I guess that's not bad in all honesty. Not a big deal. Yeah, I don't really have any analysis to go with the rest of these stats. Nothing is like eye-catching, honestly. I don't see anything that's extremely important to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about it. It was an interesting week. Tyler Duncan is the first 5. If I were to go back to the notes page that I talk about in the preview and look at the combinations here, I guess we did have a 5 in 2017 that finished second, or 5th. So I mean, it was doable, right? He could have easily got second, and Webb could have won it in the playoff, and technically, you know, that's how it would be. But yeah, I guess I didn't really think about playing a 5 as much. I don't even know how many 5s I did play. Kind of stuck. Well, we can look at our lineup construction, or my lineup construction. So obviously the reds, the light reds. So Swafford, that is the only light red I played. Should probably watch that again. And as you can tell how I created my lineups, this is your last year ones. So I made sure there was last year one in all of my lineups, followed by last year 2. So last year 2 was in all of my lineups. And then I just knew there wasn't really a limit on the last year ones, and that's why I played a lot of those. This is obviously a whole column dedicated to oranges and yellows, so 3s and 4s. And then usually on the other side here, these 2. Actually, I think these 2 were based off of golfers playing together. I think that's what I did. I definitely went and looked at the golfers that were playing together. Obviously, Brendan Todd and Keith Mitchell. I think Harris English and Denny McCarthy played together. Yeah. Most of these are golfers who did play together. I do remember that, and I remember that in the preview. So, I mean, I could have gotten on some of these guys. Tyler Duncan and I went to play Will Gordon. But like Todd and Scheffler, did I play those guys together? So there's Todd. Where is Todd? We'll just look up Todd. So I played him in 5 lineups. And Todd and Lanto Griffin. I guess I didn't. Am I looking at the right one? RSM. Interesting. Did I screw that up? Oh, yeah. My bad. Stupid. So it was Todd and Mitchell. So obviously you saw them together. Did I play any Denny? That's what it was. Denny McCarthy and Scotty Scheffler. I bet you I did. So let's just go to Scheffler. There we go. So, and I even had Alex Noren in there, which I could easily, played someone else instead of Noren. But so I mean, I only played them once together. I didn't play them more than that. I'm not that dedicated to that process just yet. I do like to record it and just see how it transpires. Obviously, this is enough. You could have created a whole lineup with those golfers in it, and you would have won a tournament. Maybe not. Not enough points, I don't think. So, anyways, that is going to be it for the analysis this week, or the review. I don't think I really need to talk about anything else. Scoring was nearly the same as every single year, around that 19 under mark. Yeah, I think we talked about everything. So, thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate it. We have a month off now, so I'm going to try to update it as much as possible. Probably update the graphics, probably update this whole layout. I might start working on I mean, it's going to be holiday season, so I'm not sure how much I'll be able to work on it, but I'll have time to do it. And one of those things that I'd like to do is make a database, so I can just easily pull that information. So, anyways, thank you for watching. Subscribe, comment, like the video, all that good stuff, and I will see you I'll see you in the new year, basically 1 month from now. All right, have a good one.